Okay, hello. Welcome to using MetaHuman ecosystem for non-MetaHuman pipelines. This is a very long title. It's really the voice to visuals demo. It's sort of behind the scenes. Yeah, so let's start this. My name is Tony Bowron. I'm a senior solution architect at Epic. I work primarily in animation, but if you ask me what I really am is I'm a technical animator, at heart. And technically, that means I can animate, but I'm usually not the one that you ask for, but I like to make things move. I like to help see things in systems that move. And I'm part of a team. We have Juan Gomez, Sean Comley, Kevin Cushing, and Stefan Biava. And they are the group of us. We service M&E. Each one of us has a different skill set, and we all have a bat phone that we use to contact the project managers and the programmers. So what we try to do is help people. Typically, we are just being pimped out by the biz dev team to do their bidding, but sometimes we also help people out, and occasionally we get invited to your stations or your companies to see your new stuff. But we try to inspire and inform as well as help, right? So this talk is about us exploring new ways to streamline animation production, and it's important that it's for any character and any style. We really wanted to push. We love the MetaHuman team. We love the MetaHuman technology, but it's not for every production, and it should be something that you can use to start with and then go to any avenue that you want for your production, right? And I want to talk about audio-driven animation and how that unlocks creative workflows, because that is really where this project started. This project has evolved quite a bit as it came along, and so I want to get back to the core, because throughout this whole thing I kept saying, no, there is this core here that's really special, right? So, but one of the ways this project has evolved was this magic mirror, we call this, and we had a stage at LA, and I'll show you a video of that, and people would come by and visit, and they'd use the capture system, and they were just amazed to see themselves and how quickly they could inhabit these characters. And one of our directors, Miles, is like, it's like a magic mirror, and I was like, we'll use that, right? I think it's good. I don't think it's copyright, so I don't know if you'll hear it next year, but this year it's called Magic Mirror. And then we're going to talk about building a flexible pipeline with non-MetaHuman characters, and we'll show you a little bit about what that means, right? We also try to use the latest and greatest tools when we do these productions, which is tough because we're doing a presentation about a project that doesn't exist yet using software that's not done yet. And so that's very tricky, right? And so that's where the bat phone comes in handy. So, and I'll talk about that. And then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about what I learned on this and what's next, but mostly what I learned. So the problem, right? This is the problem. Is that it should say voice actors, it says voice animators. They just get an image, right? They say, okay, you're going to do this role, this character. They just see this image, right? And they're like, they have to create a character from this, right? And if you're an animator, then you might just get a voice. You might just be working on a project, and someone gives you dialogue, and you're like, you got to do lip sync. You might have to do lip sync in other languages, and you have to bring life to this character. So going from the imagination to the embodiment, right? Like, you need to produce efficiently, and the idea that every iteration you get gets you closer. So you have to iterate quickly, and nothing is quicker than real time. And so this is a great way to find that character and to iterate very quickly. But I want to go to the inspiration. So this is where I started on this path. So last year at Fest, we did a class on virtual production with Corey Strasburger, and he was in the keynote today, the creator of Blue. He's also creator of our little friends, the Zen here. And he was at the stage, and he was showing some of the tests he was doing. This is not MetaHuman Animator. Like, this was done with, started with the MetaHuman, and then he used a program called Mesh Morpher to really distort and really push things to the limit, right? And he was playing with And I believe this was the old MetaHuman animator where you had to record it, and process it. But he wanted to see how this would look, right? And he was showing us this video. I'm not going to get through the whole thing probably because he was just testing how it looks. What's the
My name is
what's the
Zen,
result?
and I'm very much in love with the universe, with life, with the genius, the absolute genius behind everything that exists. Creation itself, the complexity, the beauty, the harmony, the contrast, the dynamics. It's unbelievable. And I want to express that in a way that is meaningful to people. It's also meaningful to me to express it because I love it so much. But I would like to influence. I would like to influence people. I would like to inspire people. And ultimately, I want to enjoy the process. I want to enjoy the process of creating and putting it out there, expressing it.
So
and for
blah,
others
blah,
to
blah.
enjoy.
He's talking. He's talking on purpose because he just wants to test the stuff out. And he's showing this thing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Corey, this would be crazy expensive to do this to this level. And you're just doing this as a test in your room, just to see how it looks, And it's like, coming from a background in animation, this is insane. This would be thousands of dollars, and this is a throwaway test piece, And so I started, well, come on, this has so many possibilities because, projects do need localization. Lip sync has always been, very expensive. And this was a MetaHuman-esque character, but it's like, why can't we, what if we could do this on another character? What if it was not a MetaHuman? There's a huge potential here to influence a lot of, ways production is done. So I did some testing, and this character here is named Egbert. He's part of a digital puppeteering class that I'm still working on. Yes, I know Ryan Corneal. Every time I talk about puppets, everyone always asks me, do you know that guy? He does the puppets on Twitter. He's actually helped me a bit. And so I got 11 labs because I just wasn't going to be able to do the voice. I was like, what if I use some AI voice just so I can create some stuff and I can see if I can get the lip sync, because then I can do the puppeteering, and I hook this guy up to a Vive controller, and I have the voice working perfectly, and I just have to worry about making the eyes move and making the the head look around, right? So this is a test I put on LinkedIn last year, but talking about a tutorial series that I'm still working on.
Hey, LinkedIn, aka Stinktin. This is Egbert here to introduce myself and announce that next year, 2025, will be the year of digital puppets in Unreal Engine. That's right, you heard me. So right now, I'm on the phone, talking to people, getting some tutorial together to help everyone learn how to get started.
And it turns out, I got really good at typing in text into the voice generator and making little videos for my colleagues' kids, and just like birthday for my dad. I actually think I could have a part-time job making videos with this character, right? It's quite fun, and again, it's just like, okay, there's something here. There's offloading the lip sync part off and having just the performance be done. There's something interesting here. So I'm like, we need to do a demo. We need to take this to Unreal Fest. So I go back to the solution architect team, say, look, you guys, this is pretty cool. They'd already seen it. I'd already made videos for some of them. And so we're like, okay, let's assemble something here. So we want to, get some characters. We want to get a body. We have to obviously target it. We're gonna, we'll put it together, sequencer, and we'll do it live. And the thought was, we'll have audio, and then people will come, and then the people we pull from the screen, or from the audience, and we'll just have them reenact and pantomime audio that was just already playing. Because you don't have to worry about that, right? And the idea was, we won't be doing anything on the stage. It'll just be like a setup, structured demo that people can come, and almost like a karaoke, but reverse. You're moving the body, right? That was the plan, right? But we had to get characters. We had to have something to show. So we had to assemble a cast, and the first thing I do, go to Corey, please, can we use the Zen, right? And so he did, right? And so that was really nice. And I already had Egbert because he's going to be part of something else, the tutorials, and so I had him, right? And then we went to the learning team, and learning team is This is someone called General Dad, but they let us borrow this or use him. We called him Commander Rylek, right? So we had some characters here, and the environment, you see the Talisman, that was the environment from GDC last year that they did for UEFest. So I got all these scrapped up all these free assets, and of course, nothing's more free than Manny. Everyone uses him, but we wanted to give him a mouth because this is all about animation, right? So like, well, we need to figure something that give him a mouth, but that was key, right? And so then we have to actually perform it somehow. And when you're at the stage, we have OptiTrack, we've got XNs, we've tried Move AI, we try all of them, right? But the problem is when you're at a demo, you don't necessarily have internet access. And some of these solutions, you could process it, send off, and come back. But if you don't have internet, you don't know how long that's going to take. So we wanted to find something that could be used real time. And also, well, here this is Kevin's mock-up of it. And the suits are a pain, and they really limit your ability to pull somebody off, or even get a normal person to even do anything, right? So being markerless was important, right? So the capture system was, we called them, said, hey, can we please use this? And they're like, okay. So this whole project is just sort of reaching out and trying to get things reasonable. And the thing that was great about this is it was multi-person, it's markerless. We needed something like this for the Fest Expo. There's no way we could do it otherwise. And then lack of suits is nice, and it's immediate. We have a VCam app that we use, and that's immediate. It's really nice to use these things all together. There's a real benefit in having the real time, and even MetaHuman Animator. I barely touched it for a year because it's not real time. I just left Liveling Face being my main app just because it just has to be something you can interact with and record, right? So again, we're going to have this thing set up, we're going to bring people on, and it's not going to be anybody wearing a shirt like this, right? It's going to be people come on, we'll have them do something fun. Well, fast forward to now, and we've got...
Here we are, live on our animated stage here at Unreal Fest. Just for Tony, a little gyrating.
So there you see Sean as the Zen, on the stage. This is our stage down there, over there. So definitely you want to check it out. So all this came together. We got all the pieces, right? But I do want to show you, as we were doing this and we were putting together the pieces, we would do a shot, and then we were like, oh, we didn't have the reverse shot. There's a difference. We're saying we got to do that. And so slowly we just started adding 2 and 3 and 4 people in. So pretty soon it was just easier to put all of us in there. And then every time we did it, a bunch of people would come around and we're they would be standing around watching us. So this is us at the LA Lab doing a rehearsal for this. And you can sort of see the evolution. So this is the monitor. We can see our Unreal, and this is us working it out.
Minutes ago. Or wasn't it you? Now I'm confused.
I had to shave my beard so that the capture software would work better.
Another Zazen? Preposterous. Oh, there could only be one Zazen, bro.
Oh, wait a minute. Sunset is a lefty.
Excellent work. Let's see who's behind this.
Yeah. So in this whole time, we're like, well, we'll never do this whole thing live, but we'll do parts of it. It's easy to get the coverage. And of course, you'll see we do this live now down there because it just became the most entertaining way to show off the stuff. And just be able to have 4 people just dressed normal, acting the stuff out. It's amazingly powerful for playing around, for just getting down ideas. I think there's going to be a Saturday Night Live type show or something that you could absolutely do this with, right? Like we're seeing potential that I've never seen before with these tools coming together, right? But I do want to go back to where I always say we started this with Egbert, we started this with just the audio. So I do have to just show you just a little tutorial, I guess, about what I did. How did I get the audio onto Egbert's face, just so you can sort of see some context. So this is a video that is narrated. So But watch this here.
Very quickly, I want to show you how just by having an audio file.
So your character doesn't need to be a MetaHuman.
You can now take this and create animation from it, right? This is where I started, and I had so much fun doing this. So if you go to your MetaHuman and you create a MetaHuman performance file, just call that MHP. And this is the same kind of window that you would have brought up if you were using MetaHuman Animator in the past to process your files from your phone. But here, instead of depth footage, you can just choose audio, and you can select the audio file, and you can drop it in here. Now you'll see it pop up here. Let me get this bigger. And any MetaHuman, it doesn't matter which one it is, it just needs a MetaHuman with a reverse solve in the face. So the MetaHuman, so Zen, let's see here, his face mesh. We'll use him because he's our hero. So here, let's see, and he will have a control rig here. So basically, it takes the sounds and maps it to a control rig. In this case, we don't actually want head movement. It's okay. We're not using that. And you can actually try different moods here, but we'll just leave it neutral for now. And we can process it, and you can see it'll think about it, and it goes probably faster than real time. But here now, you can then play it.
So your character doesn't need to be a MetaHuman to leverage all this power. Plus, you can also get lip sync for free and localization. Por ejemplo, yo puedo hablar en otro idioma y el MetaHuman puede recordar esto.
And it actually does detect some expressions. It does some blinking. Every version of this gets better and better, and more emotion goes in there. But once you have that, you can either export this as a level sequence, which will just give you curves on a face board of the animation that you care about, or you can just export it as an animation. So here we're going to export this as this ASMPG, this animation sequence for the egghead, right? So I've already exported that, but so I'll just do choose. You can see here, you can choose which skeleton to put it on. So in this case, I want Egbert, eyeless Z-up skeleton, right? And so I can create that, and it's going to tell me, hey, you might not have all the different morph targets that a MetaHuman has, because this is designed for MetaHumans. But that's fine, because I'm not putting this, in this case, on a MetaHuman. So I say yes, and it exports it. So, and here in Sequencer, I can take that character, and actually here you can see this is the animation. So Egbert doesn't actually have any eyes, but he does have morph targets, and he has lips. So you can see here, this is what's happening under the hood. It's just what it converted, because Egbert has all of these expressions, or any expressions he has that are morph targets, it will use those. So then once we apply them here in the sequencer and hit play.
So your character doesn't need to be a MetaHuman to leverage all this power. Plus, you can also get lip sync for free and localization. Por ejemplo, yo puedo hablar en otro idioma y el MetaHuman puede recordar esto.
No, I didn't hook up the eyes in this version because the eyes are being controlled by a. Traditionally, I was using the Vive controllers to do the looking around, right? So I could also include the eyes, and I wanted to do a little more deep dive into this blueprint because there's a few more things going on. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about it. So here's Egbert's blueprint. He's a skeletal mesh. The eyes are attached. This is something like Ryan Corneal was saying. Keep the eyes detached. That way you could move them, change them, have a modular puppet, right? So the eyes are a separate skeletal mesh. That's why his head has no body. But inside every single, so here's his morph target. So I just took 4. I just said, okay, what 4 lip shapes do I think are the most interesting for the shape, the mouth that I want? And there's just 4: upper lip, mouth lower, funnel, chin raise. And those gave me a lot of the shapes I need. And every skeletal mesh has a post-process and a blueprint. So this post-process and blueprint calls this control rig, and it just looks at those controls that are coming in either from the app or from the animation itself, and it just looks at those controls and it moves the jaws. So that way, no matter how I animate this character, the post-process will make sure that the jaws move. And here you can see in the animation sequence, similar, all those curves are in there. And so later, if I decided, you know what, I really need more fidelity. I really want to add the eyes. As I add those morph shapes into Egbert, then the curves are there, and it'll just use those curves. I can tweak the morphs, and the curves are already there. So it's a really nice way to start, super simple. Just the jaw. Oh, let's add just the upper lip. Oh, just add the lower lip. And keep building on top of that. And that was really nice. So now we have Stéphane. He's our new SA for animation in France, and we tasked him with, let's go further. Let's say this is a character, but let's put this on something that is so not MetaHuman, right? And a material property, right? So he's going to talk about his contribution where he's using these curves on just a material property. So watch this.
Alright guys, just a quick video that I want to show you for the progress I made with Manny and the mouth animation. So here's a quick results.
Yes, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling MetaHumans. Yes, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling MetaHumans.
So before going any further, I just wanted to know what you think about that, if we're on the good way or not. And talking about the workflow, so basically it's just a skeletal mesh that I started with. It's just a plane with 2 bones, and I retrieve all the curve names from the MetaHuman skeleton. And I just mapped everything on the rig asset itself, just basic stuff, just to be able to create and generate any audio file from there. And for the Mario, it's just a translucency one with parameters exposed, mapped with the name of the curves that we want to animate. And I base my workflow on the animation sequence here. And I just try to take and spot the most relevant curves that I can play with. And then, yeah, we could adjust the martial, we can change the shape. So it's just mask that I created in Photoshop.
Yes, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you.
At some point, we can add an additional layer to control the overall intensity with an override type. And I just play with other animation like the emissive and the base color just to create random effects. So, and yes, I added a sculpt deformer just to kind of warp and map the geometry of Manny. And yeah, just a cheap warp deformer here. And yeah, let me know what you think, and I will continue on that. And I'm going to show you some progress of the Manny transition as well.
Okay.
Thanks.
So we've even modified that more. So now it runs real time, and we've decided to add eyebrows that will then modify the color of the mouth EQ stuff, right? So again, we're just trying to say, you have these levers here, and these levers can be your eyebrows, or they can be your jaw, whatever, and just trying to find different ways to apply those to all the characters and things that are just not characters. It's really important. There's like kind of the farthest way we could think of to show that you are not locked in the system, the MetaHuman, right? So part of what we also do is we try to use all of the latest and greatest for the release of the 5.6. So one really nice thing we use is LiveLink Hub. And as a matter of fact, LiveLink Hub is something that you can use at home if you want to have multiple input sources. Like say you had puppets and you didn't want to use multi-user, but you had 2 different computers that had different LiveLink inputs. You could bring those both into one computer, and then you can have multiple puppets on that computer. So Kevin's going to talk a little bit about how we are bringing all of the pieces together from the source of face, body, and easily setting that up in LiveLink Hub. LiveLink Hub is a really nice tool if you're serious about streaming. You should learn it. Yeah, I might have to hit the button one more time.
Here I'm going to review the way we use LiveLink Hub in voice to visuals to simplify our LiveLink workflow. We are combining capture data, which is body data coming from a markerless capture system called Capture. And you can see I have my 4 actors that have come in We are also doing MetaHuman Animator using the iPhone, which is now called LiveLink Face within the engine. So to set up the face, I'm going to put in the IP 192.8.5.11 and connect that, and you can see I have a red iPhone connected. And what we found very useful, because we're using MetaHumans, it's essential to combine the body and the face data. Much easier to apply when you're in engine. And to do this, you can add another source called a LiveLink virtual subject. So I'm going to add a virtual subject here. Let's call this Vert Sean, and I can combine Sean's body data with the iPhone. See I have a yellow sign here, so it hasn't been set up. I go down here in the subject settings. I'm going to grab Sean and the red iPhone, and you can see now that goes to green. I've combined those as a virtual LiveLink subject, so that data will come in as one stream. The other thing I want to do is make sure that the iPhone is not driving the rotations. I need those to come from the head bone, from the capture system. So I'm going to keep the parent, the body is the parent to this. I also, on the phone, I've already turned off the header orientation and translation. However, when you look at my Unreal project, you don't see a virtual subject there. Very important. Need to come back here. I'm going to rebroadcast, and now you can see I have the Sean virtual subject coming in, ready to apply to a MetaHuman. Other couple of areas I want to show you is there's some settings in here for LiveLink Hub. You can set this to look for all other clients on the same subnet or leave as local. Here you can see I'm in all mode, and there's two clients. There's myself, PCAP, and you can see the level that it's connected to. I can see the level of the other client is the Talisman Workshop. Very handy. You don't have to have a multi-user session, but you can be sending LiveLink data, multiple sources, to different client workstations. So you can collaborate, but not have to be an MU. Also going to delete this out, show you what a LiveLink preset. I've already saved a preset. Whoops, my mistake. I'm going to open the config. And here I have 4 actors. Make this a little bit bigger. So you can see the complexity of what's going on. To sort these all out, I already have Sean as a virtual subject. Then I have myself as a virtual subject combined with the iPhone. Then we had Juan with the blue iPhone and Tony. Whoops, he had the red iPhone. So this was a pre-configuration. So the importance of this, you can see that if I made a mistake in setting up a phone, I go, oh, Tony's actually supposed to be on the green iPhone. I'm going to put him on green, go back to Sean, and change him to red. And you've combined those 2 different sources together.
Okay, so part of the reason I'm putting these videos in here and keeping them with some detail, because I think it's a nice reference later down the road. You're doing something, oh, I know on YouTube I can go find this and look at this, because it's the kind of thing that you can get lost to find that stuff. So I think it's important to keep a little bit of technical details here, just so you can understand it. Now, the other new thing that we have done in 5.6 is we have something called the mocap manager. Historically, media and entertainment has been people who are using Unreal for ways that were never intended, right? And animators can go their whole lives never hitting play in Unreal. They don't even know they can play. There's always an editor, right? So motion capture has always kind of been this weird thing that you had to kind of wrangle together. And so finally now, this mocap manager is a nice place to have your stage defined, have your characters defined, and it's taking motion capture much more seriously as a workflow in Unreal. So I want to show you this.
I'm going to give you an intro to the mocap manager, but you should definitely go see Richard Graham's talk here at UE Fest. He'll give you all the details. So we did use mocap manager for organizing our mocap shoots, but the point of this is to show you how to use your virtual LiveLink subject to your MetaHuman, combining body and face. So just quickly on the mocap manager, can be used to organize all of your capture sessions. Here I have a session, a project. I can even add the LA Capture stage, so put that in there. Let me just quickly zero that out. So now I have a representation of our stage. I already have my blueprint of my MetaHuman that I want to put body and face on. There's a whole area here where you can set up your performers and characters. I already set up my performer for Capture. I'm going to spawn that performer. And as you can see, it spawns my Capture source with a scaled mesh to match the live link data coming in. And then I also have my character, which I could spawn. In this case, it's going to be using the MetaHuman skeleton, which is underlying Rylek, but I actually want to put the data on Rylek's blueprint. So I'm going to quickly come and grab, here's my Rylek, put him under my source, and go over here. What's important is the source data already has a new actor class called a performer component, and that immediately picks up the live link Capture data. We're going to add a retarget component to our MetaHuman blueprint. And what this does, let me just move this out of the way. It now allows me to choose what is going to drive, which is the Capture scale mesh. What's being driven, the body, everything else will follow the body. And then I need to get my retargeting asset, which was created previously, and connect that. And there you can see, looks like he's connected, but not quite. The last step of this is we need to connect our virtual live link subject. So I have virtual Kevin here, can connect that. I have body going, and now we have face. Let me hide this guy, and there you have it. You can see I can talk, and I can do T-poses all day long if you want. And that's how you get virtual live link data onto a MetaHuman. Lastly, let's show you how to record. Great feature here. Saves you having to set up everything in Take Recorder. You can have this preordained. I'm going to choose the virtual Kevin. Let's go ahead and roll on that. There we go. Simple as that. It's going to record the data. Love that take. Okay. Got it in the can. Let's go and review it. And sequencer pops up. And you can see got face moving and body. And there you go. That's Mocap Manager plus Virtual Live Link Subject combining face and body onto your MetaHuman.
Okay. So, like I said, we wanted to use all the latest tools. That was an example of one. Retargeting is one that's also evolving quite a bit. We have new versions of this. And because it's new, we are trying to use it. It's evolving. And we had some difficulties figuring out the latest and greatest way that it works, right? And there were some slides in here showing some of those problems, right? And the product manager of retargeting, who shall remain nameless, contacted me and said, hey, I think we can solve this problems before you get to Unreal Fest, right? And this nameless person, I said, okay, Greg Richardson, thank you. If you can get me this working for us for the stage, I will remove those, and I will show you a retargeting video of, what's working. And, one of the issues that we have always played with is like, do you retarget from the hip to the ankle, or do you retarget from the hip to the toe, right? And so this is a newly updated video because all the retargeting is now working. And if you see it on the stage down below, it's all the latest stuff. So this is me holding up my end of the bargain.
Let's review some of the IK retargeting setup we use in the voice to visuals. Here we have Capture data. See, it's very large compared to ours as in target. I'm going to scale down our Capture source, and let's get in a little closer to see what's going on. So we were dealing with retargeting in a typical motion capture pipeline where you're going to stay in editor, similar for a live event. You want to get the feed as stable as possible. So in this case, it both look like they're plausible, but what is the difference? 3 on the left, the Capture is being retargeted and sold with an IK that goes all the way to the toe. On the right, it's an IK that ends at the foot. And to show the overlay of the two of these, just to make it a little clearer, let's put these on top. So now I have two capture sources, and I'm just going to scrub this live link data, recording live link hub. And if you look on the left, you can see how the right heel is pulling out. We're getting some compression into the floor. And on the right, we got a much more stable solve of the foot by just going to the foot and not to the toe. So let me just show you the retargeting masks themselves, bring those in, and talk about some of the differences. You can see we have a source scale. I'm going to scrub to a place where we can see a little bit closer. Now you can see, even though the motion was audible, the amount of compression that we got with the toe solve on the left versus the foot solve on the right. In order to achieve some of this, not just the scaling of the source, we also then did adjustments to the IK. So here you can see I'm doing absolute for our foot solve, and our toe solve is additive. We tried doing absolute on the toe as well, but we got the same sort of compression. And what's unique about this is because we're able to actually use this scale source, means we can blend to source the IK goals and lock that foot on top of itself. And there you have it.
And then this seems like a minute thing, but when you are borrowing assets from people and you're getting things, especially Zen, and then you've got this character and his feet are all over the place, and then the creator, Corey, comes to see what you're doing, and he's like, "Oh, why are the feet so bad?" You know, he made this character. Now we're presenting this, and it's like, if we're not presenting it in a good way, you know, and I'm like, oh, we gotta fix this, you know. So because I know Corey's gonna be here looking at it, and I don't want him just cringing, right? So these kinds of things are super important, especially when you're trying to keep a high fidelity, right? And the other thing that list goes into is layer control rig. You know, we've got all this great stuff. Right now, these characters don't have perfect collision, so you can certainly collide through stuff. So I want to talk a little bit, because it's really important to take these things to that next level very quickly. If you don't know about layer control rig, and it's also really handy if you've got assets from somebody else and you just need to make changes on it. So I will go a little bit about how we use layer control rig, and I'm going to show you a very simple Zen version. So here's a short version.
Incredibly useful, you should know about, is the layered control rig. Layered control rig is a special kind of control rig that includes a backward solve. And that means is that instead of having to bake all your animations, if you want to adjust them, it can actually convert those animations from a sequence into a control that you can animate on top of that. Now you're animating on top of it, so that has its own special qualities. It's not replacing it, but it can be very useful for things like this. See how his hands are going through his body? You know, in this case, even though you can see ourselves animating, you get into the scene and you don't even realize that there's clipping problems. But you can apply a layered control rig. You just have to go to the body. You go to control rig, and if it's layered, only the layered ones will come up, which is only the animation, the control rigs that have backward solve in this skeleton will come up. And once you select that, and here it's already selected here, see it says layered. When you activate that, you can see all these controls. And now instead of having the animation only be what was recorded with the motion capture, you can make changes. So here we have keys. So now his hand, if you notice, doesn't go through his body, because we were able to just take those curves and just offset them a little bit, right? And so here, if I turn it off, you can see it goes through, turn it back on, you can see it goes on. And another nice thing about this is if you want to change the animation underneath it, because you have a new version, you cleaned it up, you can apply that. This is non-destructive, but every project we do, we end up using layered control rigs to some degree. And the layered control rig in the MetaHuman is the whole body, but you could actually make a layered control rig just from a few pieces. So you said, okay, put a backward solve for the shoulder and a forward solve for the shoulder. And so if you had a character that only had very specific issues and problems you wanted to tweak on top of the animation, you could do that as well. So I don't want to skip this important tool because it's very powerful.
Okay, and so here is an example of naked Zazen. That's his tattoo under there. And this is the layered control rig. So the bottom is the backward solve, and I only needed to fix the clavicles and the shoulders. So the backward solve just says, for every bone, move the controller. So it's got the clavicle right and left, and then upper arm right and left. That's all it's doing. It's saying, if I see these curves, move the controller to match. And then the forward solve on the top is the reverse. For every control, just move that bone. And so much of the cleanup, we're able to just bring this very quick, very light layer control rig on there. So they're not complicated to make. Everyone thinks they have to be all encompassing, but they don't. You can surgically just adjust whatever you need. Super powerful. And then a few more custom tools that we wrote. Sean wrote. Here, we're going to go over camera switching because we wanted to be able to play back this stuff here live and easily assemble clips, right? So this is a tool that we have. I'll show it real quick.
We wrote a few simple tools to speed things up while we were on the stage. We wanted to capture everyone's performance at one time so that the actors could play off each other, which means we were working in a takes context rather than a shot context. But when we played things back for review, we still wanted to see how things would look in a shot context by cutting to different fixed or procedural cameras while we did our reviews. Setting up or modifying all these cuts was taking precious time away from our capture session, so we made a simple tool that will let you cycle through all the cameras in the current active level sequence and drop a camera cut at the playhead. So when we played things back, we could get a better sense of how the capture data would look in our finished product.
Okay, and then we also did something. There is something called black eye camera. You have to really enunciate that. But we made something simple, a simple version for that, so that it's procedural camera flow.
Another
you can see
useful
here.
thing to have on set while you are capturing different performances is procedural follow cameras. Sometimes you want to see what a performance will look like in a close-up or a mid-shot. Since every capture will inherently have different timings and the actors' bodies will be in slightly different locations each take, it would take a lot of time to chase them around by manually editing the cameras every time. Since this is a game engine, we can mitigate this by adding some logic to our cine cameras and make them constantly react to the performers in real time. The cine camera already allows you to procedurally look at and focus on a specific actor, so we just added our own follow blueprint on top of this using simple interpolation comparisons. We could even adjust how tight or loose the camera would follow everyone around. This way, we could keep everyone in frame and in focus every time automatically. And to get these as baked cameras for downstream use in editorial, you can simply drop these in Take Recorder during your session.
This is something we could actually put on EDC if people think this is a useful tool. But like I say, do look at the black eye camera plugin because it's very good and it does way more. I think the only reason we didn't use it is we are in a new version of Unreal and we didn't have their plugin for it, right? So we talked all about how we made all this stuff. So I just want to show you the cut that Juan created of all of this work that we are going to be doing, and you'll see that on the floor. But this is the big reveal, the final sequence.
What's wrong, Zen? You appear perturbed.
Oh, I sense deception, bro.
Nonsense. I run a tight ship. Everything is under control.
Oh, sure. Tell that to the Commander Rallick I saw 5 minutes ago. Or was it you? Oh, now I'm confused.
Sensors indicate an additional life form aboard the ship. Peculiar. Ah! Another Zazen? Preposterous!
There could be only one Zazen, bro. There could be only one Zazen.
Wait a minute! The real Zazen is a lefty!
Excellent work, Egbert. Now, let's see who's behind you.
Oh, Unreal Engine, it was with you all along.
Yes, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling MetaHumans.
So what does this mean? Does it mean that we have to file a bug report? Or...
So that was the piece that we ended up doing. And you can come down to the expo floor and we will be performing that live throughout the day and tomorrow too. So quickly, I want to talk a little bit about the limitations and the benefits, right, of this process. We were working with new software being done, and retargeting took a lot of time trying to figure that out. So it's improving. We talked to the retargeting team, and we're going to keep working with them. And we needed an improved way to bake the skeleton and sequencer right now. And I also talked to unnamed product manager, Greg Richardson, about this too. That look, we're doing this stuff. We need to be able to quickly take it from the source, bake it on there, and put some controls on there, and then hit it out to MRQ. Like if we can get a few things done here, you could do something in the afternoon and have it out on YouTube or have it out wherever in a day. You could create content very fast, even with some adjustments. And right now, when we do a live link source, we record the source and we just do MRQ. If your sequencer is open, it holds on to the live link, so everything's frozen. So these projects we do, we feed them back to the dev teams and say, hey guys, you probably never tested this approach, right? So that's actually quite useful. And really the benefits, the Magic Mirror is super fun. We see this actually down there on the stage. People come on there and even someone that you wouldn't expect it, they come on, all of a sudden they're like, they're just like, wow, I'm a character. It's amazing how much it can bring out people's personalities. And we can quickly iterate. If you have a banter with somebody, you just forget what you're doing, and you can really generate content very quick and have fun. Audio-driven animation, again, I love it. I think it's got a lot of potential, certainly for localization, but just for workflows and getting things blocked out. As long as you understand some of the core pieces of how to make your character, you can use MetaHuman Animator, and it's so powerful. It's really fun. So the conclusion, and I want to get to one more video here. We started from a voice and got to a visual. We explored audio-driven lip sync. We applied characters in markerless motion capture, which is new for us, and it was very, very flexible and very nice. And then we assembled all the characters, and we really went to find a way to streamline animation production. It's not really virtual production. It's sort of this mix, but we think it's got a lot of potential. And we were supposed to do this for a event we have every year here at Fest, and this whole thing was designed originally for helping that out, and they canceled us. And they said, no, you can't do it. So I said, well, can we at least give you a 3-minute video? And they're like, sure. So we took that 3-minute video using all of our experience, and and then one day we created a response to them. But you can see here, this is a last-minute addition we added, and just how quickly we've got to the banter and the tools, how they're coming together to really get out of your way. So this is a video that we made to protest our being excluded from this presentation earlier.
Connection established. Okay, Zazen, you know your lines?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, proceed.
Hello, CTO Summit. Woo!
No.
What?
It's not called that. They changed the name, remember?
Extra. Hello, Ebony Summit.
No. That was last year's name. We talked about this. I thought you were prepared.
Huh?
Tabs.
Tabs?
Tabs.
Hello, Tab Summit.
No. You don't say tabs and summit.
Huh?
The S in tabs is the summit.
I don't want to do this. Get Miles. He's better at this. Nope.
Egbert, can you help me?
Yeah. Are we ready to do a live demo?
Well, the live tabs demo has been canceled.
What? You
but
cancel me? Oh man, after working so hard on this demo and you're canceling me?
I told you can't post those kind of pictures in the forums. You get canceled.
No.
Because that's sexy picture?
Just sexy pictures. They were too
The
sexy.
expo floor is not canceled.
they were good,
Just
but they
the
were just too
tabs.
sexy.
Like, I'll handle this.
Okay, you handle it.
Oh, I'll handle it. Oh.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests.
And Rob.
And Duncan.
And them, yes. We welcome you to join us all week on the expo floor in the AnimViz stage, where you can learn about markerless motion capture and MetaHuman Animator, now in real time. And you can even try the Magic Mirror.
Magic mirror.
That's right, all week at the expo floor at the AnimViz stage. See you there.
Better hurry up before they change the name or they cancel it after everybody worked so hard. Oh, my name's Rob. I'm a big pair of bottles and it chips and
No, that's unnecessary. Stop.
You're unnecessary.
Disconnecting.
Okay. Thank you. Please come to the expo floor if you have questions. We're going to be there throughout the day and tomorrow. So we're out of time here. So thank you.